I'm Bob Vila. Welcome home again to our project here in the Berkshire Hills. Today our modular house is quite far along and we're spending time putting in interior detailing, urethane cornice moldings in most of the rooms. Also, we're installing a gas fireplace that you'll get a kick out of. And on the back side of the house, an enormous wood deck made out of composite wood. Stick around, it's good to have you home again. Steve Roth is here from Style Solutions. And Steve, let me interrupt you before you go too much further. Now, Style Solutions makes all sorts of moldings and trim.
All kinds of architectural treatments, and this house has got quite a variety.
Yes, we're putting in quite a variety of different cornice moldings, and this is a crown that you're working on here, but I've got samples here to show everybody. Crown, which typically would be a crown molding plus maybe a bed and then another flat piece like this.
That's at least a 3-build crown. Right?
Yeah, and in this case it's just one piece of urethane. And then we've got traditional ones such as this, which is sort of an egg and dart detail, maybe a federal inspired piece, and a classical kind of acanthus. Some of these are very, very high style, including
very intricate, aren't
this
they?
is the most high style with swags and dentals and just about everything you can imagine. I'm quite surprised that there's this variety of aesthetic choices to be made. More or less, are they comparable to using wood, or is it more money or less money?
They're very comparable to wood. They install differently because as you can see, the crowns are very large. We can do a 3-build crown in one piece. So what your advantage is to install it much quicker.
The cost per foot approximately is?
We run anywhere from $5 a foot up to $15 a foot would be an average range. But it really depends on the detail and the size of the molding itself.
Now, you were just about to, what were you doing, testing?
Well, I was just kind of dry fitting a miter here, and unlike wood, we tend to do ours on a bench. We'll do it before we install it up on the wall.
Which makes it easier.
Well, when you got a 3 crown, it's much easier to line everything up down here where we can work at it.
Gotcha. Well, I'll give you a hand.
Can I show you how we do that?
Yeah. Now, do you use adhesives?
Well, the key to it is use a construction adhesive, okay?
Not a carpenter's glue,
Not a carpenter's glue, Bob. What we have here is foam. So here again, we want to make sure we're using a good bonding agent on that seam.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, just on one side.
One side. You're going to see a lot of ooze out here. If you can help me line that up, Bob. There you go. And you see how much of alignment I have to do?
Yes.
We've got the quarter round here, the cove, and all that we're doing in one piece. Now the key to that is I'm going to put a screw on the back side. If you can make that out. There we go. I don't have to pre-drill at all, Bob, if you notice.
Sure.
It's going to be substantial, and it's going to toke right in there.
It's a very easy material to work with.
And as I work that corner,
show us those
it's
screws.
Going to close right
those
up.
are very, very thin shank
These
screws.
are a trim screw where has a very small head. So it's going to look like a finish nail when it gets into the joint.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to put one more in there, and then I can show you I have a corner prepped out already that we can go ahead and install a large section. I'll let that joint set about 45 minutes.
Okay.
And then that ooze out there, I can clean off real easily because it'll kind of flash off. It'll give me a clean joint.
Very good. Well, you've got some sections ready to go out in the hall here. I noticed your helper was putting...
Todd's out there putting the glue on the wall. Here again is the importance of that construction adhesive. If you can see, he's running a swivel pattern up where that molding, the baseboard of this molding will run flat against that. So where it contacts the wall is where we want that adhesive to be.
Okay. Yeah, if this were being done with traditional wooden moldings, you'd have to be applying 3 different layers of molding at 3 different times.
And it springs that into shape too. Now, I've got the stud markings already marked, Bob, here. Just like you're doing a piece of wood, you're going to have to hit your stud openings. And then I'm going to bear these same trim screws right into that stud.
Now, isn't it a problem cutting such a wide profile?
We get the larger profiles. You definitely have to deal with that in a different way. And how we do that is we'll set that molding flat. We'll have to mathematically figure out the bevel and the miter of that saw But we show that in our catalog, so we give you those settings, and then you can cut it very easily.
Now, this is about an 8-inch cornice, but when you get into those fancier ones, like I was looking at over there with all the swags and the dentals, isn't it a little bit complicated to make these miters?
It gets very complicated. All that detail you have into it can be a real challenge. We cast mold at 90-degree corner to where that miter's perfect. And it's already assembled for you. In fact, it's cast molded in
So you
place.
can get a precast inside corner.
We do that for about 12 of our larger profiles that would be hard to get into the saw, plus the pattern match.
That's terrific. And of course, the durability of all of these products is great in the weather, because you also make the products that we're using for our roof overhang brackets. And this is one aspect of the exterior design that really does conform to the Craftsman bungalow style.
Yeah, very simple lines, Bob. Big advantage of this over wood, though, would be that's out in a high moisture area.
Yeah.
What is this, a two-story
It won't
house?
mildew?
It won't take on any moisture, so it's not going to rot. It's going to hold paint well. It's just going to be a real maintenance-free type of product to have up there. Yet it looks like the real thing.
Terrific. Thanks, Steve.
Sure.
When we come back, we're installing a zero-clearance gas fireplace from Vermont Castings. Now we've got an interesting addition to the cottage here, and we've got Jack and Craig to tell us all about it. This is Vermont Castings.
Yes, it is.
And it's gas. I mean, we're out here in the middle of the Berkshire Hills. Does it make sense to have gas appliances?
Yes, it does. Typically, we'd have a 500-gallon above or underground tank.
Yeah.
We'd fill that regularly. In the case of power outages, you'd have heat.
Yeah. Okay, I see. And tell me something, Craig. Is this kind of the state of the art in terms of this type of fireplace?
State of the art, this is direct vent technology, which basically you're using air from the outside, burning, and then sending your exhaust back to the outside.
So you're not using any of the air that's inside the living room that's already been heated by the furnace?
You're not using any air from inside the house. It's its own separate entity.
All right. Now, this is a pretty impressive fireplace. It's large.
Very, very big. Probably one of the biggest ones on the market now.
And is it more than just a pretty picture? I mean, will it actually provide any heat into the room?
It will provide up to 30,000 BTUs of heat into the room.
Wow. Now, how does this work? What's he doing in here?
Well, basically, right now, he's putting what's called some decorative embers and some rock wool material onto the burner to enhance your flame picture, to give you that glowing ember look of a real burning fire.
The mineral wool does that?
Yes, sir.
And so he's just added all these little wisps of mineral wool in there for that effect. And then what are the black pebbles?
Mainly for aesthetics, but they will heat up and give you a little bit of glow when the flames are coming up through them.
All right, so the package comes with the fire brick panels and the cast irons, and what are the logs made out of?
The logs are made out of a fiber ceramic material. They will actually, when flame hits them, will heat up and will give you a little bit of a glow like a real burning log.
Where do they go?
Well, what we'll have is Mark will do the placement on those logs for you.
So the fire will actually come from that ceramic black element that just looks like the bottom of the box.
It's a ceramic burner, yes.
This is all ceramic, so it can take all the heat that is generated by it, and you don't have to worry about it cracking or anything.
No, it's all designed, your back panels and your logs are designed for that, working with the zero clearance of your box, which allows you to frame it right up to wood framing.
Yeah, that's the beauty of these things. It's zero clearance, it's a double-walled exhaust system, and you don't have to worry about keeping walls and partitions away from any of these surfaces because they don't get very hot.
Correct. You have your fresh air coming in the outside, exhaust in the middle of the pipe, so your fresh air actually acts as an insulator.
Are we ready to fire it up, guys?
Yes, we are.
All right.
Ah! Look at that. The little mineral wool particles almost immediately start taking on the glow. Now, you can't use it without the glass. You have to put the glass in place.
Yes, you do. Being a direct vent appliance, it has to have its makeup air come in from the outside. Can't use any air from within the house.
What sort of glass do you use?
This is a tempered glass on this material. They make fireplaces with ceramic or tempered glass.
What's the difference?
Your tempered glass tends to hold some of the heat into the unit so it doesn't make the room too hot, whereas the ceramic glass gives you the ability to radiate that heat out into the room.
I see. Now, how expensive are these?
This unit here is probably about $1,900.
Uh-huh. And I believe the glass part is a big part of that.
If this had ceramic glass on it, you would probably add $300 to $400 to the cost of this unit.
Well, it's going to be a handsome addition to the room. Thanks, fellas.
Thank you.
Coming up next, we'll get to work on the back deck using a new product made from recycled materials. And let's say hi to Steve Cooey and Jim Precht from AERT. Jim, what does AERT stand for?
Advanced Environmental Recycling Technology.
Recycling technology. And we're certainly dealing with a kind of a recycled technology in terms of the decking product that we're using, right?
That's correct. It's made out of 50% recycled wood fiber and 50% recycled plastic.
Now, where does the plastic come
The
from?
plastic is high and low density plastic. The low density plastic comes from Chinet paper plates, a little film of plastic on that, in the inside of milk cartons. That encapsulates each one of our pieces of wood fiber and keeps moisture from going into it. The high-density plastic is stretch film and grocery bags, and that gives it the strength. The combination of both of those in the wood fiber make a product which is impervious to water, termites, decay, and rot.
Steve, what about the wood component?
The wood comes from your chair and stool manufacturers and also trailer flooring. It's a red oak.
Trailer flooring? You mean like from from big trucks?
From big trucks. Then also the cedar, which is in this product, this particular product here.
Yeah.
Comes from the waste fiber that comes out of the ash juniper.
Ash juniper is used for what? For oils and things?
They extract the oil for your soap and fragrance corporations.
Oh, the perfume industry.
Perfume.
So their waste is put to good use in here too. Great. You guys are full of new technology. Tell me about this drill driver or this screw gun.
It's a quick drive. It's got a trim head stainless steel screws.
And so these are what, 2.5 inch?
They're 2.25.
Yeah.
And they have a square head, not a torque. But let's see how this works. This
The
just
advantage of them is that the machine will countersink them underneath just the right distance.
And you knock off the little bit of the excess, close it up.
if you need to, but the main thing is that you can just walk along
Right,
you
and
just
he'll
go
show.
along.
and put them all in place without having to worry about being on your
alternate 'em.
knees. Boy, Cooey, every neighbor on your block's going to want to borrow that this spring.
Yes, sir. It works fine.
I like these spacers
Yeah, that really makes it consistent.
that come with the
No,
material.
they're extra. You can use a 16-penny nail,
Yeah,
but it's
sure.
a lot faster than
Cooey, can I try that?
Yes, sir.
So,
get it going full
Have your
speed.
drill going wide open before you start.
now tell me one thing. A lot of people are probably curious about the look of this product, the finish. Is it going to change at all with time and the weather?
Yes, in 4 to 6 weeks, it's going to change to, depending on the amount of sun it gets, to a silver gray. Once it changes, people can go ahead and stain it
If they want.
if they want, but they're in the maintenance mode. But we tell people to let it go ahead and turn to the silver gray. It matches cedar and all the other
Yeah, and
turns.
as long as you don't stain it, you're not in the maintenance
You're not in the
mode.
maintenance. Now, you
That's
have
a
to,
good point.
But you
yeah.
have to keep it clean.
Yeah.
It's just like anything else.
Well, next we'll talk about the railing system, I guess.
Sure, super.
Next, we'll continue work on the deck, installing the components for the railing system. All right, the railing system that's also part of this is really pretty finely tooled. All the pieces come ready to be used, and one of the interesting things is the posts, which have a hollow cavity in them so that you can feed up electric wiring if you want to put lights on here, and which are attached underneath with these steel brackets that are supplied as well, so that, you know, the line posts and the corner posts are very, very sturdily attached. And fellas, can we watch you put this all together? I mean, you use
bet.
spacing blocks at the bottom just so that we...
That's for your 4/8 spacing.
Uh-huh. And then this is all milled so that these fall into a channel, but that's not enough to keep them tight. What do you have to do? Put an angle bracket on?
Put a stainless steel angle bracket.
Now, can you make these any length you want, or is...
A 6-foot maximum between posts is the BOCA approval, so 6 feet or less. It comes in 12-foot pieces, so you can trim it to whatever you need. You'll notice there's a slit that we will put our screws through to anchor the baluster to the post in each bracket.
All right, the spindles or balusters for the railing are 1¼ inch stock, square. And so you're going to put a couple of these in place just to guide the height
Correct.
of the top rail, which Cooey has here. And the top rail comes with the stainless steel brackets, which again get fastened onto the posts. All right, so the first spindle gets placed tight up against the post.
Correct.
And that helps add to the rigidity of the whole thing.
Correct.
Yeah.
And we'll countersink these just like the decking, and we'll tap them. You won't see the screw hole.
And then before we put all the spindles in place, we drill a couple of weep holes in about 8 inches from each post. So that any moisture that gets trapped down there will run off.
Correct.
Yeah.
On a 6-foot railing, there'll be about 12 spindles that will go in. And you need to load them
And
first.
then you need all these pre-cut spacers, right?
Correct.
Yes, sir.
But they are cut out of the baluster.
So these were cut on site, or did they
Cut
come
on
pre-cut?
site. No, they're cut on site, so you can determine how far you need to go between your balusters, and you need to stay within 4 inches is a maximum between balusters in pretty much code across the country.
Right. Nice and neat. And then this last one should fit perfectly. Boy, that is precision cut. Now we do the same thing on the top, right?
Correct. And we use the last baluster or last fillet to do the little incremental adjustment that you're going to need.
Sure. So we're pre-drilling a little pilot hole
Correct.
on the top rail in each place where we'll drive a 3-inch screw to hold that fillet in place.
Correct, and that'll secure the balusters.
Right. And one feature we haven't pointed out is that this material is kind of self-sealing. You don't see where the fasteners are. It makes for a nice clean look. And we got a cap to put on and a top rail to put on. There you go. And do these have to be fastened from the top?
Yes.
Terrific.
Yes, Steve's gonna
All right. Thanks, Cooey. Thanks, Jim. Thanks for coming on. We're running out of time. Come home again next week when we'll be putting up some Chatsworth columns, adding a mahogany deck, as well as installing a heating system. Till then, I'm Bob Vila. It's good to have you home again. Looking for help on your next project? Visit bobvila.com for everything you need to get the job done right. You'll find Home Again highlights, interactive tools for planning your next project, and helpful how-to articles for every room in your home. bobvila.com, the ultimate home site.